And on the other hand, with the facilitatory telehealth stimulation, we saw the elevation of the high gamma power. So the power of the different frequencies were influenced by either inhibitory or excitatory stimulation by TMS. So it looks like that some different process is happening in the brain after different manipulations, either low frequency or high frequency. And also there are some comprehensive study about using the rodents, about analyzing the gene expression in the brain after the TMS. There seems to be some sort of plasticity happening after our TMS. And now we are really looking into the mechanisms now, having a hypothesis that low frequency causes LTD and high frequency causes LTP. But this is not totally proven, and we are just beginning to, in the starting point of this study. We have just got this first paper accepted several days ago about this consistent change of neural activity.
Yeah, that's great. I got another question for you. So in the second part of the talk, right, you mentioned that some of the neurons.
Ken, could you stop sharing your PowerPoint, then we can see your handsome face to the students.
Okay.
So you mentioned that some of neurons might be, tracking the rules or categories, right? But I noticed that in your task, right, there might be some fundamental difficulty differences. For example, in the whole reversal condition, right, it might be easier because there's a pattern to follow, right? But in the kind of wholly randomized task, right, it's a lot harder because the monkeys have to they have to guess because there's no actual pattern to follow, right? So could it be possible that some of these neurons are actually following the difficulty of the task rather than category or rules?
Sorry. So the TMS part was performed with mixed rules of whole and partial reversals. And which reversal was to be done was decided randomly. That was happening during this TMS study. But during this neural recording, we only asked the monkeys to perform the whole reversal. So the neural recording was under the situation of the consistent rule of whole reversal. So implicitly asking the monkeys to actively use the categories all the time.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other questions from the student? Oh, please.
Hello, professors. Thanks for the nice talk. And I have a question for you. I think in the second part you provided a neurological basis of a certain way of logical thinking. But do you think that there is another way for monkeys to think, another pathway? Since, well, if you perform the test on me, right, and I would like first guess the meanings or the connections between the drawings, rather than start to categorize them. But since humans and monkeys are quite similar, so what do you think will happen?
So with humans, we have language to explain the rule, and but the monkeys don't have any language, and then we just put them into this task situation without any explanation. But we once tried to put human beings into this task situation without explaining anything. And what they did naturally was to base their thinking on these categories, having exactly the same performance as monkeys. So seems that it is a natural tendency for the well, at least the primates to use the categories. And there is another interesting study done by developmental psychologists that this researcher used somewhat similar task of using whole reversal versus partial reversal for many different children. Normal children perform the task based on whole reversal rule, but some children, especially autistic children, tended to use the whole reversal category, so remembering the associations one by one rather than using the category. So there seems to be some biological tendency that normally with the normal condition of development, we naturally start to use this category.
Okay.
And some additional experiment that I did, which was shown in this recent paper, scientific reports, we also measured the speed of the establishment of the category during the task. And actually it was really, really quick. After only seeing each trial, each stimulus once or twice, the monkeys could almost perfectly form the category, regardless of the number of the stimulus. The stimulus can be even 20 or 40 in total rather than 8, and still they could very quickly form the category. So there seems to be some special memory system dedicated for finding out some logical structure from time-by-time experience. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, maybe.
Okay, so is there any other question from the teachers or students? Yes, please.
Hello, Professor. Thank you very much for the talk. And I also have a question here. Do you think if there is any possibility to use or to have some applications of the knowledge that you have gained from this experiment with the relation in the prefrontal cortex and the coding neurons, if there can be any applications that we can use in reality? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't know whether I really completely understood your question, but are you asking some application of this knowledge we got from this experiment to any other science?
Yeah, like to apply this knowledge to other aspects of life.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Very recently, I had a discussion with computer scientists in a symposium held in Tohoku University, and we had a very interesting discussion that he was proposing the combination of deep learning process together with a logical process. And deep learning is not at all logical. It is just based on experience. So it is a trial and error process, but it is very speeded up by huge computational power of modern computers. And logical process is completely opposite. It has a much quicker calculation without needing much computational power. And this combination of these two he argued that can make the computer's performance much more flexible, being able to adapt to many different situations. So the current problem with the deep learning is that it does the overlearning or over-adaptation to one situation and not being able to switch to other situations. This is the big problem that the AI scientists are facing now. And the result of this study would suggest that, on the contrary, what is happening in the human prefrontal cortex is basically the logical process. And by using this strategy, putting this strategy into the AI, maybe they can make it better and more friendly to human beings. This is my suggestion from this experiment.
Okay, thank you. So we still have time for like last 1 or 2 questions. So is there any further questions for Tsutsui Sensei? Okay, so everybody is happy about the monkey research, or you can ask about how about Sendai and Tohoku University maybe some other time. Okay, so if there's no further question, I think I will stop today's presentation for now. So Tsutsui Sensei, please stay online. Let me introduce some Taiwanese friend to you later. Okay. 同学们，那今天的这个课程就到这边，所以请大家记得就是要缴报告的记得缴交，然后那个要参加这个与神同行社的同学，麻烦到前面来登记一下，我会再跟各位说一下。然后要加选的同学，然后也麻烦到前面来。那我们今天的课程就先到这边 ，OK， 谢谢。
那个我提醒一下，就是作业是到明天晚。